I'd like maybe a different perspective on the idea of expectation. And that's been the theme that you've used quite frequently this evening. I just wanted maybe to get a better understanding of what is involved in expectancy.
We would love to dialogue more about that. Your expectations are things that, for the most part, you have picked up, you have learned, you have come to from your physical life experience, for the most part. As a small child, you may have expected that your parents were going to clothe you and to feed you, and you were going to live in a house, and you were going to have siblings, and you were going to go to school. In other words, you came into this life experience tuned into who you were and who you are, but also eagerly looking forward to observing, and from your observations, launching rockets of desire for yourself, creating your own reality. When you came into this life experience, you came in knowing that this was really just a platform, a beautiful, magnificent platform, but a platform from which you could sift through and decide, I like this, I want more of that. I don't really like that so much. I think I'm going to put that on the back burner. I would like to meet more people like this. I would like to collaborate on that. I would like to bring something like this into my experience. You knew that this platform was a platform from which you would create more. However, what happens is, and it is absolutely also not a surprise and really to be expected, that when you were a very small physical being, those large physical beings around you, adult parents, teachers, authority, gave you the idea by their certainty about it that you were a helpless being and that you needed them. You needed their approval. And they showed you examples of how you needed them. And you started to train your expectations in accordance with that. And then you stepped out into the physical world and you started watching how other people were creating. You started listening to gurus and teachers and people in authority, people who you were told knew it all in a certain area. And you, not you specifically, but as a mass population, you started following and training yourself to follow the guidance of those around you. And not all of you, but many of you became less tuned into your own guidance and more tuned into what was happening around you. For instance, we love to go back to the money example because it's so concrete. When you saw that perhaps your parents had to work hard for money, there was never enough money. No matter how hard they worked, they just barely scraped by, that things were hard, that nothing seemed to come easy, that money doesn't grow on trees. We could go on and on and on with different little catchphrases that physical beings have come up with to explain what they've seen, when actually the explanation for what they see is that they expect to see it that way, and so that's the way they see it, you see. After a while, these expectations are so deeply ingrained that they're on a subconscious level that you may not consciously be aware of, and so you are creating by those expectations. The way that you can know what your expectations are and how you have oriented your expectations is to simply look around you. What's happening in your physical environment? What's happening in your reality? You're always disappointed because this person does that. Or every time you get a car, it always breaks down. Those things that you're seeing in your experience are built on, are created out of your expectation, which is created out of training yourself to listen to the guidance coming from around you, comparing yourself to what other beings are doing, and grading yourself depending on how you're doing in comparison to how they're doing. And we want to tell you that you never intended to come and base your worthiness, which is just a given, just by the fact that you are worthy of everything, but you become convinced that you need to earn and you need to be worthy and you need to struggle and you need to strive and you need to do this and you need to do that, and A leads to B and B leads to C and C leads to D, etc., and you just have to work through it. These are all just expectations that after a while become automatic for you. And there are expectations that you have that have become automatic, that are automatic, we mean subconscious, that you just expect without even consciously thinking about it, that serve you very well. You have expected and you expect that when you get into your car, you're not going to have to think about all the steps that are involved in driving the car. You're just going to get in it, you're going to turn the key, and you're going to get to where you want to go. And you're not going to have to retrain yourself every time you get into the car about the mechanics of the car and how it works and how you put things in reverse and then put it into drive. You don't have to replay that over and over and over again specifically. You've trained yourself, you expect that you know it, and you do. And so what we are advocating is to practice more conscious, positive expectations rather than running on autopilot, subconscious expectations. Again, as we've said, there are many subconscious autopilot expectations that are good, that serve you well, that make your life easier. Your heart beats in perfect timing. That's just an expectation. Day and night, the sun's going to come up. It happens. That's just an expectation. That's not something that you have to go through the details of creating the sun again and creating the horizon and going through all the intricate creational steps that you went through when you first assisted in the creation of all this physicalness. You don't have to go through all those steps. You have gotten yourself so trained that you expect it. And that makes your life so much easier rather than having to recreate step by step by step. So again, what we are wanting to do is to assist you in using your conscious, deliberate intentions to look forward to and to expect to see things that you are wanting to see. And that's why often we advocate taking what you might call baby steps and shifting a little bit and then in a relaxed way noticing what has changed. And they may not be huge changes. It's almost like a shade of color changed slightly, you see. That is why we like the saying, looking at life through rose-colored glasses, because really, in a way, that's what is happening. If you were to use color as an analogy, you can step from one and expect to step from one vibrational reality to the next, and you may not see a huge change, but you will feel a change. And when you feel a change, we guarantee you, we assure you that your reality has changed. Whether you can see a huge physical shift or not, your reality has changed because the way you feel has changed. Again, if you make a big jump in how you feel, then you may see a big jump in your physical reality. But big jumps can be hard. They can be hard to sustain. Not impossible, and it's been done. So we want to assure you that you can do that. But we have found that it is often easier to make those incremental expectorial changes so that you are building on your success. You are looking and saying, oh, wow, I had a conversation with that person today, and it was so much easier and so much more pleasant than it was yesterday. That is evidence of you shifting. That. And it may not seem like a big thing, but it is a big thing, because it is taking you on the path to more and more and more ease, and also to more and more expectation of things turning out the way that you want them to turn out, rather than just expecting the same old thing over and over again, which we assure you will get you the same old thing over and over again. We would encourage you to take a little time each morning to relax, to appreciate whatever it is in your life experience that you can find to appreciate, and to stretch the envelope a little bit. Stretch your expectation a little bit about something that you are wanting to shift. Imagine, and we've called this pre-paving, we've called it virtual reality, you can call it whatever you like, but imagine something in your experience that you're wanting to shift going a little bit more easily for you today than it did yesterday. Just play it out, just for the fun of it. And you don't have to get into deep detail unless getting into detail is fun. But just play it out a little bit. Get into the feeling place of it. What would it be like if, again, I had a pleasant conversation with this person as opposed to an uncomfortable conversation? What would it be like if I could relax as I'm working on this project and expect that I'll find the resources I need to complete it, rather than dreading this project and expecting it to be hard because it was hard last time I did it. You see what we're saying? They're very, in a way, subtle changes, but these subtle changes in expectation make huge differences. And as your life starts to feel easier, take that feeling of ease as evidence, because it is, as evidence that you have shifted your expectation to a place where you start to expect things in your reality to align with your true self, to align with your desires. And when you start training that just a little by little each day in the morning by feeling good, finding some things to appreciate, and playing with the idea, and at the end of your day, looking back and looking for those places, not from I have to find them, but from places where I felt a little bit more at ease today. What were some things that just happened for me, but how did my reality change because of that positive expectation to get stronger and clearer and stronger and clearer and stronger and clearer? It really is, we are not kidding you, a matter of practice of knowing that there is nothing more important than feeling good. Nothing more important than that. As you make that your daily mantra, and you look for and find evidence of things turning out the way you want, the way you've envisioned them to, the ways that feel good to you. As you do that, after a while, that becomes your subconscious expectation, you see. And on many, many topics, you will just start to expect that things are going to go the way you want them to. And it will happen. And it will happen more and more and more and more. And that will be your default vibration, rather than the struggle vibration being your default.
Thank you. Thank you.